Hello. With all the multimedia tools available today, it is easy to go overboard and inadvertently overwhelm your learner. In this presentation, you will learn about 3 principles used to reduce extraneous processing. They are the redundancy principle, signaling, and coherence principles. Research has found that redundant content inhibits learning. The redundancy principle aims to reduce repeated information coming in from multiple formats. For example, many presentations have the material presented in audio, so the presenter's narration, and text and images. When the learner focuses on multiple information input, it puts a heavy demand on our working memory and inhibits learning. Many of you have probably seen flashcards for young children teaching how to read words. The flashcard usually has the word and an image. When teaching kids new words, the parent or teacher will often read the word and present the image and text. However, research performed by Miller in 1937 found that children learn better when just the picture is eliminated. Next, we will explore the redundancy of actual equipment. When learning computer application, it is common for individuals to work along on a computer as they learn the process of learning new computer skills. Learning in front of a computer is often a common approach for computer science classes. However, research has found that when working on a computer, it can have a negative impact on learning the new skills being taught. Working problems on a computer not only increase learning time, but also negatively influence long-term learning. Therefore, it is better when learning new computer skills to focus on the material being presented without the computer. Next, we have presentations often violate the redundancy principle, where a speaker narrates and the presentation has the same information on the slide. In this example, the learner is being exposed to the same information in their visual and auditory processing channels. As a result, there is an unnecessary tax on the working memory as the learner tries to process the same information through dual channels. Redundancy can also happen when you provide too much detail or have extra information that does not facilitate the learning content. Overall, the redundancy principle reduces cognitive load so we do not have the same information coming through both channels. Next, we will talk about the signaling principle. The signaling principle helps learners know what they should be focusing on in the learning content. For example, if we look at this slide, we can see that there is a lot going on and the learner is not sure what image, text, or animation to focus on. We can use signaling to cue the learner on what to look at. For example, this slide shows 2 neurons interacting and the neurotransmitters traveling over the synaptic cleft. The use of color allows the learner to focus on the area that we are emphasizing, the synaptic cleft, and we can see in yellow where that space or synaptic cleft would be and where the neurons are traveling across. In this next slide, we can see how an animation signal shows learners what they should focus on. In this case, again, the neurotransmitters crossing the synaptic cleft. Finally, we can use text to emphasize information in a process or big idea of the learning content. Overall, signaling helps reduce cognitive overload by helping the learners organize and narrow down the significant information they should be focusing on. Therefore, the learner reduces extraneous processes by reducing the effort it takes to identify critical points. The last principle I will be discussing is the coherence principle. When creating multimedia learning content, it is tempting to add assets that seem to make the learning fun. However, such seductive material can harm the learning experience. Examples of extras to avoid are background music, extra graphics, and unnecessary text or examples. Similar to the redundancy theory and signaling theory, the coherence principle keeps the learners focused on the relevant learning content and reduces any elements that are not beneficial to the learning, such as background music. As a result, the cognitive load is reduced when the learner is presented with material directly relevant to the instructional goals. Now you will see a working example of how I use the redundancy, signaling, and cohesion principle on using appreciative advising techniques in course development. Appreciative advising can be used in a variety of fields. I like to use the 6 stages of appreciative advising when I'm meeting with content experts to develop learning materials. The 6 stages of appreciative advising are disarm, discover, dream, design, deliver, and don't settle. In the disarm phase, I get to know the content expert by building a relationship. I inquire about their instructional goals and find out what has worked well in their course development and what are areas that they would like to improve on. During the disarm phase, I inform the content expert of what my role is as an instructional designer in the course development process. Overall, you can see that understanding the principles to reduce cognitive load is critical when designing learning content. Learning materials should not only contain relevant information and should reduce extra or redundant content that could inhibit learning. Learners should not have any question on the big ideas of what they should be focusing on. Thank you for taking the time to view this video, and please stay tuned for future videos.